On News Hour tonight, Trump threat leads to over 2.8 trillion naira market loss in Nigeria. Students struggle as years of insecurity leave Katsina schools in ruins. Tinubu hails Governor Soludo's re-election, describes victory as affirmation of visionary leadership. And away from Nigeria, 6 dead, 750 injured as tornado devastates southern Brazilian town. Hello and welcome to News Hour on Trust TV. I am Mariam Idris. Nigeria's stock market took a sharp hit in the first trading week of November as investors lost over 2.8 trillion in market value. The slump follows growing investor anxiety triggered by U.S. President Donald Trump's recent threat of military action against Nigeria. A Daily Trust exclusive shows how the tensions peeled into the capital market.
The Nigerian exchange closed all 5 sessions last week on a negative note, wiping off about 2.8 trillion naira in market value. The sell-off began on Monday, the first trading day after President Donald Trump's invasion threat, when the all-share index fell by 0.25%, bringing market capitalization down to 97.58 trillion naira. Losses deepened throughout the week. By Tuesday, investors had shed over 611 billion naira. By Wednesday, another 1.3 trillion naira was wiped out. Trading closed in the red on Thursday and Friday as investors dumped stocks across banking, oil, and consumer goods sectors. Analysts say the downturn reflects renewed caution among investors amid rising political risks and profit-taking after October's rally. During the week, only 20 equities appreciated in price, while 75 declined. The most significant losses were recorded by Sovereign Trust in Insurance, C&I Leasing, and Skyway Aviation Handling Company, which all saw double-digit declines. Meanwhile, there was a bright spot in the debt market, as the Nigerian exchange listed a 4.64 billion naira infrastructure bond issued by Electron Finance SPV PLC, the first under its 200 billion naira program. The 15-year bond, guaranteed by InfraCredit, carries a fixed annual coupon rate of 22%, attracting strong institutional interest. In the telecom sector, MTN Nigeria saw its shares drop 8.3%, losing about 900 million naira in value as investors sold off ahead of its interim dividend qualification date. Despite a strong profit rebound this year, the stock's decline added to overall market pressure. Economist Dr. Muda Yusuf warned that Trump's comments could further erode investor confidence and raise Nigeria's risk premium, threatening to undo recent gains from the government's reform efforts. For now, analysts expect volatility to persist as markets weigh political uncertainty against economic fundamentals.
So joining us via phone call to discuss on this story is economist Yushau Aliyu. Hello Yushau, welcome to News Hour.
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, given the immediate market volatility and the 2.8 trillion naira market cap loss, what are the specific long-term economic impacts Nigeria should prepare for if these diplomatic tensions escalate into concrete U.S. policy actions, such as sanctions or aid withdrawal?
I think there is a lot of potential dangers as we are beginning to see, especially in the behavior of the market and also the behavior of investors. Not only behavior of investors, but behaviors of those in diaspora who are helping the economy to grow. So, but the best way to handle it is that Nigeria is not isolated. Nigeria is a sovereign nation, and at the same time also there is a lot of opportunities surrounding Nigerian business market, especially with the recent effort of the central bank of recapitalizing the banking sector and then putting additional strategies in enhancing the stock performance.
Beyond the stock market and the naira's depreciation, how will this heightened political risk perception affect Nigeria's ability to attract and retained foreign direct investment, that's the FDI. And what does this mean for job creation and inflation in the near future?
It all depends on the efficiency of our political decisions, because Nigeria will remain a role player in West Africa sub-region, and Nigeria will continue to also give leadership in different aspects of investment in Africa, especially the recent development in oil and gas. But however, this threat can only last in the short term, because the world is beginning to understand the ramifications surrounding the threat. But Nigeria as an entity can have better foreign policy. Especially, Nigeria has to fasten the appointment of ambassadors, because investors that are scattered around the globe are not concentrated in one region. They are concentrated probably in Asia and part of Middle East. So if we are to put our efficiency in terms of market performance, we have to shy away from the American market and come closer to us, Africa, and then look into Asian investors who are ready to invest and who have the potential of investment.
Okay, now expatiate more on this. What proactive monetary and fiscal strategies can the Nigerian government implement to mitigate external economic vulnerabilities exposed by this tension, and also accelerate the country's economic diversification and self-reliance?
The Nigerian economy is already diversified. You can see performance taking place in oil and gas. The efficiency that we are looking, we must be efficient in food production, and we can only be efficient when we reduce cost of input. So there is need for government to focus on the input cost so that we can put our employment intact, because we cannot risk to lose so much of employment within Nigeria by any tension from any region of the world. However, the security architecture of Nigeria must be efficiently vulcanized to make sure that any threat of any form is being tackled. Not only that, you know, anytime we are discussing trade, we have to discuss the trade surplus that Nigeria begin to exist. So when you check our monetary policy, monetary policy is still high with the 27% MPR is still high, but we can assist Naira by bringing in more investors by FDI, as you rightly mentioned. But what I am emphasizing is that in trying to attract more FDIs, our attention should not just concentrate in the American market. We have better potentials, and we have to exhaust our capacity within BRICS. I know the Nigerian membership in BRICS is what the Americans will never be happy, but if we can strengthen our effort in BRICS alone, we can attract the right FDIs, and that can facilitate better fiscal and monetary policy that can enhance the performance of Nigerian economy beyond 4.2% GDP growth.
All right. Thank you, Yusha Aliyu, for joining us on News Hour tonight.
Thank you very much, Mariam. Thank you.
Well, moving on, the Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs has dismissed recent claims by former United States President Donald Trump alleging a Christian genocide in Nigeria, describing the assertion as dangerous propaganda aimed at destabilizing the country. Addressing journalists in Abuja on Sunday, the National Secretary of the Council, Professor Ishaq Oloyede, faulted Nigeria's designation as a country of particular concern by the U.S. government, insisting the narrative of religious persecution is politically motivated and intended to incite division among Nigerians. According to Oloyede, insecurity across Nigeria stems from terrorism, banditry, poverty, and climate-induced resource conflicts, not religion. The council cited reports by Amnesty International and other conflict monitoring organizations, which consistently concluded that violence in Nigeria does not meet the legal definition of genocide under international law. Oloyede further alleged that renewed Western interest in Nigeria's internal affairs coincide with the country's reaffirmed support for a two-state solution in Palestine at the United Nations, claiming that pro-Israeli and far-right groups are driving this false narrative to divert attention from the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. The council urged Nigerians, Christians and Muslims to reject external interference and unite against attempts to exploit security challenges for sectarian purposes. Now, the presidency says Nigeria has recorded an 81% decline in terror-related deaths since 2015, attributing the development to improved counter-insurgency operations and stronger collaboration between security agencies and local communities. In a statement posted on its official X handle on Sunday, the presidency said ongoing military operations and intelligence-led offensives have significantly weakened terrorist groups across the country. It disclosed that over 13,000 terrorists were neutralized in the past year, while 124,000 fighters and their dependents have surrendered to authorities. The statement further revealed that more than 2.1 million internally displaced persons, IDPs, have so far returned to their homes as rebuilding efforts continued in previously affected communities. According to the presidency, the federal government has also established a resettlement scheme for persons impacted by conflict to rebuild destroyed communities and reintegrate displaced persons. It added that measures such as joint security task forces, enhanced border patrols, victim compensation and intelligence sharing with internal allies are being intensified to safeguard lives and strengthen national security. Now, primary and secondary education in Daga and Ginzo villages of Eastern Jibia local government area in Katsina State is in a deplorable state after years of insecurity and neglect. Students and pupils, full of dreams and enthusiasm to acquire quality education, may see their hopes dashed in urgent measures are not taken to address challenges such as inadequate teachers, poor infrastructure and insufficient instructional materials. Trust TV's Abdullahi Yamadi completes the report.
On our last topic, we have discussed about pronoun code. All of you know what the pronoun means.
These children, aspiring doctors, health workers, teachers, and journalists, sit in an unconducive learning environment at Daga Community Secondary School. Despite numerous challenges, including a shortage of qualified teachers and teaching materials, the students remain hopeful for a brighter future.
I hope to become a doctor and serve my community. Despite the challenges, I'm determined to continue my education up to university level, God willing.
I also want to be a doctor. By the grace of God, I appeal to the government to send more teachers to our school. We thank Governor Diko Umaru Rada for restoring peace to our area. I want to become a teacher or a journalist to support my community and be a voice for my people. But we really need more teachers and learning materials in our school. At about 11:30 a.m. when Trust TV News visited the school, many students were still arriving. They said they had to attend to domestic chores before coming to school, a situation that calls for greater sensitization among parents and guardians. Residents of Daga, mostly farmers and traders, frequently lament the shortage of teachers as one of the main reasons their children attend irregularly. They are also appealing for urgent government intervention. The main reason we hesitate to send our children to school is the shortage of teachers. That's why you see many children roaming around or playing in the compound. The community secondary school currently has only 2 teachers and 1 volunteer, catering for over 250 students. During the visit, fewer than 20 students were seen take lessons from the volunteer teacher.
So the problem in this school is that because of its community. Since the time that they have built it here, or the efforts organization built it, so we are looking the government to come and collect it or submit it, but up to now they are yet. The government will provide more teachers and learning materials, so that if the government do that for this school, so it will attract some parents to bring their children there.
The school is also in dire need of a perimeter fence to prevent encroachment from nearby farms and other development projects. The situation is even more alarming at the nearby Ginzo Primary School, where a single block of 2 classrooms stands dilapidated at the community entrance. There, only a handful of children were seen sitting on a dusty floor beneath a collapsing roof, waiting for their teacher, who, according to the pupils, only visits occasionally from Katsina City, about 8 kilometers away. The poor road and distance further wasn't the problem. However, state authorities have assured that a contract for the construction of a new primary school in Ginzo village has already been awarded, and work is expected to commence soon.
Because as it is now, Ginzo Primary School has been awarded for total rehabilitation, and the contractor have mobilized to the site.
The big question many educationists are asking remains: when will academic activities fully resume in local communities once ravaged by banditry, allowing children to pursue education without hindrance? Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
Suspected Lakrawa terrorists have killed DSC S. Muhammad, an officer of the Nigerian Customs Service attached to the Maji border outstation in Bagudu local government area of Kebbi State. The attack reportedly occurred around midnight on Saturday at the Maji Customs post, where the assailants shot the officer before setting his vehicle ablaze. Muhammad's body has been deposited at the Federal Teaching Hospital, Birnin Kebbi, with burial arrangements scheduled for Sunday. The incident has heightened fear and anxiety among customs personnel stationed along the border, many of whom have expressed concern for their safety amid repeated threats from the Lakrawa terror group. Saturday's assault marks the latest in a series of violent attacks on security operatives and civilians in Kebbi State, underscoring the urgent need for enhanced border security and protection of personnel. And now President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has congratulated Chukwuma Soludo on his re-election as governor of Anambra State, describing the victory as a resounding affirmation of his visionary and transformative leadership. In a statement from the State House on Sunday, President Tinubu said Soludo's triumph at the polls, which makes him the 3rd governor in Anambra's political history to win a 2nd term, reflects the confidence of the people in his administration's performance and developmental strides. The president also commended the people of Anambra State, the security agencies, and the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, for ensuring a peaceful and credible election. He described Soludo as a disciplined and brilliant technocrat who has brought grace and fresh perspective to governance, adding that under his leadership, Anambra is truly living up to its motto as the light of the nation. President Tinubu recalled his visit to the state in May 2025, where he inaugurated several projects executed by the Soludo administration, noting that the good thinking and impactful execution behind the project left a lasting impression. The president urged Governor Soludo to be magnanimous in victory and to extend a hand of fellowship to his opponents in the spirit of unity and development. He assured the Anambra governor of the federal government's continued partnership and support to advance growth and prosperity in the state. Also, Governor Chukwuma Soludo has expressed appreciation to President Tinubu for what he described as the president's commitment to ensuring a free and fair electoral process in the governorship election. Soludo made the remarks on Sunday during his acceptance speech after being declared the winner of the poll by the Independent National Electoral Commission.
This is a moment to say congratulations to Ndi Anambra. You have spoken. 4 years ago, you spoke. You gave us your mandate. And then, of course, Anambra experimented the first time with beavers in that election. Extremely very low turnout. You elected us with 112,000 votes. In this one, you spoke loudly. This election and this victory is not just victory. It is history made. Big history.
And the United Kingdom's Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office, FCDO, has issued a fresh advisory warning its citizens against travel to several parts of Nigeria, citing rising insecurity, terrorism and kidnapping across multiple regions. In the latest foreign travel advice published on gov.uk and cited by our correspondent on Sunday, the FCDO stated that insecurity is increasing across Nigeria, noting that kidnapping, violent crime and intercommunal violence occur throughout all regions. The advisory urged British nationals to exercise extreme caution, review safety measures and ensure they have contingency plans in place. The UK government specifically advised against all travel to Borno, Yobe, Adamawa, Gombe, Katsina and Zamfara states, citing a high and increasing threat from Boko Haram and Islamic State West Africa, particularly around transport hubs, religious sites and large gatherings. It further warned that humanitarian personnel, vehicles, supplies and infrastructure can be targeted by terrorists and criminals. The office also discouraged all but essential travel to Bauchi, Kaduna, Kano, Kebbi, Jigawa, Sokoto, Niger, Kogi, Plateau and Taraba states, as well as the outer suburbs of Abuja. It noted that violent crime, often involving firearms, has spread from the outskirts to more central, wealthier parts of the city. According to the advisory, British government staff in Nigeria have been directed to limit travel to areas within Abuja metropolitan zone due to heightened risk, while protests in the capital were described as potential flashpoints. The UK government's assessment painted a particularly concerning picture of the northeast, where regular military operations are ongoing in Borno, Adamawa and Yobe states amid a continued risk of retaliatory attacks. Residents of Duku, local government area of Gombe State, have staged a peaceful protest over the poor condition of the Gombe-Duku road, describing it as unbearable and long neglected by authorities. The protesters say the bad road has crippled transportation and caused untold hardship for motorists and commuters. The report.
The road, which used to take less than an hour to travel between Duku and Gombe, now takes nearly 2 hours due to deep potholes and erosion. Originally constructed in the 1980s and later rehabilitated in the early 2000s, the Gombe-Duku-Darazo road has since fallen into disrepair, despite serving as a major road linking Gombe with Bauchi, Taraba, Jigawa and Kano states. Our people have been suffering since 2003. Despite voting the APC-led government, this road remains abandoned. It's unfortunate and unbearable. Everyone is suffering because of this negligence. Fixing the road is our right, not a privilege. If nothing changes, we will vote them out in the next election.
I know a woman who had a miscarriage because of the terrible condition of this road. They are pleading for urgent government intervention.
According to motorists, about 64 kilometers of the 72-kilometer Gombe-Duku stretch are said to be in deplorable condition, forcing motorists to drive as slow as 20 kilometers per hour to avoid damage and accidents. Responding to the situation, The Gombe state government says it remains committed to fixing the road, saying the Northeast Governors Forum has already met with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to seek federal intervention on key roads in the region, including the Gombe-Dukku-Darazo road. For now, residents of Dukku say they will continue to push for government attention as the road's condition keep worsening and foresays serious safety risks to travelers. Hassan Lawan Koli, Trust TV News, Gombe.
And in Kaduna, the Southern People's Union Sokapu has expressed deep concern over renewed attacks and rising insecurity in parts of southern Kaduna, calling on both the federal and Kaduna state governments to reinforce efforts to safeguard lives and property. In a statement signed by its national president, Tabara Samuel Kato, Sokapu commended the relative peace and improved security achieved under the administrations of Governor Ubasani and President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. However, the group lamented that recent months have witnessed disturbing resurgences of violence in several communities, including Ungwarimi, Chawe, Kamaru, Wike, Gadanaji, Awan, Kabara, Rumaya, Ferinduse, Damakaswa, Sam, and their surrounding areas. According to Sokapu, about 14 persons were killed and 30 abducted between October 23rd and 31st, 2025, while farmlands and food banks were destroyed in what the group described as deliberate acts of provocation. The union recalls the October 7th destruction of crops in Kabara, Kagarko local government area, a day after villagers protested at the Ere Koros Palace, demanding urgent government intervention over incessant herdsmen attacks. Kato warned that the continued destruction of crops during harvest season could trigger a looming food crisis and urged the state government to support affected farmers and rebuild livelihoods. He emphasized that farmers and herders have historically coexisted as trading partners, noting that many of the so-called farmers-herders clashes are state-managed conflicts instigated by powerful cattle owners for political or economic gain. Now, technology is no longer a man's world as more women are breaking barriers, proving that the future belongs to everyone, regardless of gender. Once seen as male-dominated profession, the tech industry is now witnessing a wave of women who are innovating, leading, and redefining success. Speaking to some women in Lagos, they shared their experiences on how women are making their mark and making the tech industry more inclusive and vibrant. The report.
The world of technology, once considered a male-dominated field, is now witnessing a growing presence of women. In recent years, women have made remarkable progress across various sectors of technology, from software engineering and data science to cybersecurity and artificial intelligence. In Nigeria, many women are excelling in their tech careers, leading groundbreaking projects and mentoring young girls aspiring to join the industry. The rise of women in tech has also inspired more girls to pursue careers in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. However, challenges remain, including gender bias, limited mentorship opportunities, and work-life balance concerns. Despite these obstacles, women continue to thrive and redefine the digital landscape. In Lagos, residents share their thoughts on women's participation in technology. While many encouraged more women to embrace tech-related careers, others noted that balancing work and family remains a major challenge for career-driven women.
So technology has traditionally, if we look at the statistics, been a male-dominated profession. When we look at the numbers of people who are studying science technology-related courses across the world, 35% are women. This is across the world. In Nigeria, the numbers are more like about 22%. So that is changing. The numbers are increasing every day.
The only challenge they normally get is getting jobs. But you can see once you employ a female in tech, you see that that person is doing very well. For the fact that the person read that course means that the person knows what she is doing.
What I say about it is that the challenge they are facing with tech is most of these women they have a family responsibility to take care of. And that family responsibility is for them to take care of their household. the responsibility of taking care of their children is their first responsibility. So this can be a challenge that can be stopping them when it comes to that sort of tech. Yeah, sure. Women are trying. They are really dominating in tech, the technology. And so my advice for them is for them to balance it, make it balanced so that they can have a happy life, and they should not focus their attention on tech.
Women in tech are not just participants but pioneers, as their achievements are shaping industries, inspiring generations, and proving that when women lead in technology, the world moves forward.
Since the recapture of Mubi in Adamawa State from Boko Haram insurgents in 2014, many residents of affected communities continue to struggle with the aftermath of their losses. In response, the Adamawa State government, in collaboration with the Justice Development and Peace Initiative, JDPI, and other humanitarian organizations, is developing a crisis recovery model aimed at promoting savings and resilience among affected populations. Trust TV's Gibson Soadigo reports.
Selected individuals from various communities and groups across Mubi local government area have taken part in a sensitization program highlighting the importance of cultivating the savings culture. The event, held to mark the World Savings Day, sought to strengthen resilience and promote sustainable recovery in communities affected by insurgency. A representative of the Adamawa State government said the FINCRA administration, through the Ministry of Entrepreneurship, is supporting vulnerable individuals by providing access to startup capital and training to encourage prudent savings habits. He said, "We are grateful to JDPI for a great partnership that is directly touching the lives of the vulnerable in Adamawa State. Government alone cannot solve the problems of the citizenry without support from the humanitarian organizations."
So gwamnati shi kadai ba zai iya ba. So muna jin daɗi idan kungiyoyi masu zama kansu kamar wannan organization suna yin tallafi.
Victor Ezang, a representative of the Justice Development and Peace Initiative, explained that the event aimed to raise awareness on the role of savings in building resilience and supporting long-term recovery. He noted that the initiative aligned with previous empowerment and recovery programs implemented by humanitarian organizations across the state to complement government efforts. He said, "Now that I am grown up, I now know that savings is a backup plan. I encourage you to save, no matter how little it is. Tomorrow, you can invest it." Activities marking World Savings Day featured presentation on topics such as the role of savings in peace building and savings and internal lending communities as tools for resilience in conflict-affected areas. Gibson Soadigo, Trust TV News, Yola.
This is the news hour on Trust TV. Coming up after the break. NBA decries conflicting court judgments, seeks financial autonomy for judiciary. More news when we return. Just stay with us. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, you're watching the news hour on Trust TV. Now let's take a recap of our major stories again. Trump threats lead to over 2.8 trillion market loss in Nigeria. Students struggle as years of insecurity leave Katsina schools in ruins. Now moving on to more stories. The Nigerian Bar Association NBA has expressed concern over the increasing trend of conflicting court judgments and called for financial autonomy to strengthen the independence of the judiciary. Addressing journalists ahead of the association's 2025 Law Week, the Akure branch chairman, Friday Umar, decried the situation where the executive arm of government awards contracts on behalf of the judiciary, describing it as a violation of judicial independence. Umar noted that sometimes Conflicting decisions arise from differences in judges' perspectives, while acknowledging that the National Judicial Council (NJC) is making efforts to curb the trend. He emphasized that cases should be filed where the course of action occurred to preserve judicial integrity. Now, as part of to ensure inclusive and sustainable prosperity, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed hope agenda is placing agriculture at the center of Nigeria's economic transformation. Federal government policies on mechanization, value chain integration, input accessibility, and rural infrastructure are also rekindled optimism across the agricultural sector and establishing a firm base for long-term growth. Governor Obasani stated this while declaring open the 47th National Council of Agriculture and Food Security meeting at the Umaru Musa Yar'Adua Conference Center, Kaduna. The report.
Speaking further, Governor Obasani said Kaduna State fully aligns with the national vision for food security, describing agriculture as the cornerstone of rural transformation and inclusive development. According to him, Kaduna remains Nigeria's foremost agricultural hub, endowed with vast arable land, enterprising farmers, and vibrant market systems. The governor disclosed that the state government has provided subsidized fertilizers to commercial farmers as part of deliberate intervention to reduce production costs, stimulate job creation, and stabilize food prices in the open market.
Recognizing the mounting threats of climate change, we have enrolled over 100,000 smallholder farmers into a comprehensive crop risk insurance scheme. This initiative provides a safety net against losses from pest, disease, and erratic weather patterns.
In his address, the Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Abubakar Kyari, noted that agriculture remains the single largest employer of labor in Nigeria, contributing over 1/4 of the nation's gross domestic product. He described agriculture as a measure of the nation's resilience and the foundation of collective renewal, representing the work of our hands, a driver of industry, a pillar of stability, and the promise of Nigeria's future.
Building on these frameworks and guided by the vision of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR, food sovereignty has become the driving momentum of our agricultural transformation, ensuring that our food security is built on local capacity, national ownership, and inclusive growth.
This year's National Council on Agriculture is themed Food Sovereignty and Food Security, an era of renewed hope.
A Nigerian lawmaker is winning hearts and headlines for his passion to blend science with tradition. Representative Inuwa Garba of Yamalitu Deba Federal Constituency in Gombe State says traditional medicine could be Nigeria's next global success story. In this report, Trust TV takes a look at the man many call an angel of innovation. Let's take a look.
Reviving traditional medicine is more than a health initiative. It is an economic, cultural, and scientific strategy. With its rich biodiversity and centuries of indigenous knowledge, Nigeria holds vast untapped potentials to develop herbal and natural remedies that can complement modern healthcare. Representative Inuwa Garba's advocacy reflects a growing policy shift towards integrating traditional medicine into the nation's science, health, and innovation framework. At the National Leadership Awards in Abuja, Garba, who serves as the chairman of the House Committee on Science and Engineering, was honored as Best Legislator of the Year 2025 in recognition of his efforts to strengthen Nigeria's traditional medicine industry.
We are doing a lot of, meetings, research, collaboration, and partnership with the view to promote traditional medicine in Nigeria, which is a multi-billion-dollar industry. You can see what is happening in China, you can see what is happening in India and other parts of the world. So Nigeria should not be left behind. We are working tirelessly to amend some of the already existing acts so that traditional medicine or natural medicine industry is competing with the global space in terms of having natural medicine as an alternative.
Garba says modern science can work hand in hand with indigenous knowledge. His committee is revising outdated laws to make herbal medicine safer, more affordable, and globally competitive. He is also behind several bills from established.
Operatives of a Special Operations Unit of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency (NDLEA) have arrested a 40-year-old wanted drug kingpin Yusuf Abayomi Aziz at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Ikeja, Lagos. Aziz, who was attempting to board a flight to Saudi Arabia for Umrah, was apprehended at about 6:30 a.m. on Thursday, November 6, 2025, following months of sustained intelligence and surveillance on his alleged drug trafficking activities. According to NDLEA spokesperson Femi Babafemi, Aziz, who had previously been arrested and charged for drug offenses in the United Kingdom but jumped bail and fled to Nigeria. He was arrested alongside 43-year-old Abidin Kekere Kun, who was traveling with him at the time. In a separate operation, NDLEA officers, working jointly with the Nigerian Customs Service and other security agencies, discovered 105.5 kg of Molly, a designer drug, and 500 grams of methamphetamine during a joint cargo examination at the Cephas Bonded Terminal, Okuta, Lagos, on Friday, November 7th. Also in Niger State, NDLEA operatives intercepted a Volvo truck along the Kainji-Wawa Road, arresting 35-year-old Ibrahim Muhammad for allegedly transporting 87,000 pills of tramadol and 72 kg of skunk, a potent strain of cannabis. The NDLEA said the arrest and seizures underscore its commitment to dismantling drug trafficking networks and curbing illicit substance distribution across the country. You're still watching News Hour on Trust TV. The news continues after the break. Welcome back. Now moving on to more stories. The fading of cultural and traditional practices among Nigeria's ethnic groups have raised concern among stakeholders in Adamawa State. At the launch of a full day language book authored by Dr. Edgar Amos Sunday, Chief of Staff to the Adamawa State Governor, participants called for renewed efforts to preserve cultural heritage for the benefit of present and future generations.
Leaders and cultural advocates, including Lamido Adamawa, Dr. Muhammadu Barkindo Aliyu Mustafa, and Gubo Yungur Johnson Diu Matalo, gathered at the Government House Banquet Hall in Yola for the official unveiling of Dr. Edgar Amos's Full Day book. The book aims to document and promote the traditions, values, and language of the Fulani people to strengthen identity and guide future generations. Governor Ahmadu Barkindo, represented by the Secretary to the State Government, Awal Tukur, praised the author's scholarly work for promoting unity and understanding in a culturally diverse state. He also warned against the steady loss of traditional values and called for joint efforts to preserve them.
So that is why it is good what you've done, Dr. Edgar. Others, I hope, will follow suit to build upon this. In this digital world where things can be very easily corrupted, messages are distorted, these written words have their value, have their depth, and we must never lose sight of that.
Chairman of the occasion, Professor Ibrahim Danjuma, said the publication came at a crucial time, helping to build social harmony and mutual respect among communities. Guest speaker Abubakar Abba Tahir spoke on the role of Fulfulde as a unifying language across Africa, describing the author as a promoter of peace and cross-cultural understanding.
Yeah, Dr. Edgar is not going to remain in this world for eternity, but the book he has written is going to remain until the end of time. So he has donated to the Fulbe community, he has donated to the community he has grown into something that is timeless.
Talel, talel. Talel, talel. What do you go for any boat? What do you have to allow one to eat? Then what do you dilly how?
The author, Dr. Edgar Amos Sande, said traditional norms remain key to peaceful coexistence and should be harnessed to strengthen cultural identity, especially among the Fulani.
That fact alone, that I am not Fulbe, I am not Fulani, and I am publishing in Fulfulde, in itself brings out bridges between my own ethnic nationality that I come from and the Fulbe itself. But beyond that too, you can see that today's gathering is a mix of ethnic people from different ethnic backgrounds. So it will enhance and cement relationship between the Fulbe and other ethnic groups.
Book reviewer Dr. Idris Bello highlighted the value of Fulbe folk tales in inspiring cultural pride and promoting unity among the people of shared heritage. Gibson Soadugu, Trust TV News, Yola.
On the foreign scene, at least 6 people have been killed and around 750 others injured after a powerful tornado tore through a town in southern Brazil, destroying nearly 90% of its structures, authorities said on Saturday. The Chista struck Rio Bonito de Iguaçu, a town of about 14,000 people in Paraná state, late Friday, flipping cars, toppling buildings and scattering debris across vast areas. Officials say winds reached speeds of up to 250 kilometers per hour, leveling homes and public infrastructure. Firefighters and medical personnel treated hundreds of the injured, including 9 who were reported to be in critical condition. Temporary shelters have been set up in nearby communities for displaced residents. President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva expressed solidarity with the victims and announced that a team of ministers and disaster relief experts had been deployed to the affected area. An alert for severe storms remains in effect across Paraná, Santa Catarina, and the Rio Grande do Sul states as the extreme weather system continues to move through southern Brazil. Last year, the region experienced catastrophic flooding that killed more than 200 people and displaced about 2 million others in Rio Grande do Sul, one of the worst natural disasters in Brazil's history. Experts have linked the increasing frequency of such events to global warming. In sport, tension and confusion engulfed a Nigerian Premier Football League (NPFL) match in Katsina on Saturday after a Barao FC player was injured during their clash with Katsina United. The incident occurred during the week's 12th encounter at Muhammadu Dukko Stadium, moments after Barao FC had equalized in the 69th minute, forcing a temporary halt to the game. Ghanaian-born midfielder Nana Abraham Kwame sustained a neck injury, and photos of the bleeding player quickly went viral, sparking online claims that he had died, reports later proving false. While Katsina United denied any act of violence and insisted that the match remained peaceful, Kwame revealed that he had been hit by stones thrown from the stands, prompting widespread concern over fan safety at league venues. Meanwhile, the MPFL management announced Sunday that Katsina United have been fined a total of 9 million naira and banished to Jos, where they will play all subsequent home matches behind closed doors. Still on sports, Anambra Beach Soccer Warriors has emerged winners of 2025 Nigeria Beach Soccer League Super Final in Abuja. Trust TV's sports reporter Adeni Ajishafe has more.
The 2025 Super Finals at Jabi Lake, Abuja had 16 participating in the 4-day tournament that had Kebbi Fishers Beach Soccer Club, Anambra Beach Soccer Warriors, Ibom Beach Soccer Club, Kada Beach Soccer Club, Kebbi United, and Jigawa Golden Stars Beach Soccer Club competing for honors. The final match attracted a lot of dignitaries and beach soccer enthusiasts. NFL President Ibrahim Gusso, NFL General Secretary Mohamed Sanusi, NFL Technical Director Gosne Guavon, among others, were on ground to catch a glimpse of the grand finale. The final match took a fierce turn as both Kebbi Fishers and Anambra Beach Soccer Warriors face off to justify their final qualification. In the first period, Anambra Warriors led 2-1, while the second period produced a tougher duel. Kebbi Fishers came back to the game to make it 3-3 in a 6-goal thriller in the third period. The final extended to extra time with no score to separate the two teams until penalty shootout. Anambra Beach Soccer Warriors goalie scored a winning sport kick for the winning team to end 5-3 to dethrone defending champion Kebbi Fishers, who fought gallantly till end. The winning team captain and coach, filled with so much joy for edging Kebbi Fishers, expressed how tough it was to emerge champion.
I feel so happy because it's not easy for us to come here. And first of all, I want to give thanks to God Almighty who made it possible for us. You know, it's not easy to be on top, but I promise we're still going to be on top. Next season, we are coming out to make it possible again.
I am over the moon. Words cannot express how I feel. Yeah. This journey started in 2006 after the coaching course. Wow. And last year we were running up. We came so close. And this time around we said God, we want to go a step better.
Anambra Beach Soccer Warriors celebrated winning the league against all odds as they lifted the trophy in ecstasy during medal presentation. 2025 edition of Nigerian Beach Soccer League Super Final showcases a lot of improvement with more to look forward to in 2026. That's Sport News. I'm Adeni Ajishafe.
And with that, we've come to the end of the news hour on Trust TV. Do not forget to follow us across all our social media platforms and also join our YouTube live stream for more news. I am Maria Midris. Thank you for watching.